Let's talk now for about 10 or 15 minutes about the Food Safety Modernization Act. This is a regulation that was signed into law by President Obama on January 4th of this year. It is bringing about some sweeping changes in how FDA will regulate food products, both that produced here in the United States and products imported from overseas. I want you to understand and be very clear that many sections of this act, because there are a number of them, are phased in over time. They aren't just starting, they didn't just start on January 4th, but for the next 4 or 5 years, various aspects, various parts of this new regulation will come into force. So why did this come about? What was the impetus for this change? Well, mainly because foodborne illness is a significant burden all over the world. In the U.S., we have about 48 million Americans, 1 in 6 getting sick each year, 128,000 hospitalized, 3,000 die each year. As our world has become more globalized, where we are importing more and more products, right now, for example, 15% approximately of the U.S. food supply is imported, coming from overseas. That means we're getting products that we haven't seen from countries that haven't previously exported in such volumes. Food safety, or I should say the food supply, there are more high-tech and more complex types of products, more in the marketplace, and therefore more hazards. We've had some very high-profile cases of foodborne illnesses. A lot of those imports in the spotlight here in the news in the U.S. and around the world. For example, many of us, of course, heard about melamine in pet food products several years back, illegal antibiotics in aquaculture products, more and more detections of E. coli and new strains of E. coli, Salmonella, Listeria. And we've had our problems here right in the United States at home. It's not just foreign producers, I can assure you. A couple years ago, we had a very large company called Peanut Corp of America, PCA, producing peanut paste, distributed to hundreds and hundreds of companies throughout the United States. They had tainted product, and there were many illnesses and indeed a number of deaths, and that was, again, a product that originated right here in the United States. Now, the main components of the new Food Safety Modernization Act: prevention, focusing on how we can help countries, companies prevent problems before they start. Inspections, which would include compliance and responding to problems. Import safety, how can we focus more on the imports arriving in the United States? And all of these can be worked on through enhanced partnerships with governments and organizations overseas. So those are the 4 key focuses of the Food Safety Modernization Act. Focusing on import safety, very important. Right now, we rely on port of entry inspection. The FDA cannot handle the increase in imported foods coming into the United States. It's impossible. There are hundreds, and on some days even thousands of shipments arriving into the United States or circulating within the United States. And the idea is to make importers more than ever to be responsible for ensuring the safety of their foreign food suppliers for their imports coming in. The overall concept: let's get the food coming from abroad to be as safe as that of our domestic industries. This little chart here shows some of the registration statistics. Over 240,000 registered foreign food facilities from over 200 countries. 15 to 20%, as I said earlier, of our U.S. food imports, consumed in the U.S. originate from countries other than the United States. 80% of our seafood products that we consume in the United States are imported. 35% of produce. 60% of our spices are coming from overseas.